Let me all right, let me start recording. Yep. So yeah, man, got your third fight coming up. All under Jetta Promotions?
All three of my bouts would have been under Tony Jetta Promotions card. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So are you signed with him, or you just happen to be on his cards?
Just happened to be on his card. Not signed on him. No, sir.
Yeah. So how does it feel making that transition from being an amateur now being, going to your third fight?
Yes, so it's a difference. The venues and the crowd, especially, is different. Gear, so you have to be wary and cautious of that. The gloves are smaller and everything, so you feel the impact a lot more from that.
Yeah.
And so you just have to be wary and cautious of that, But and then technical wise, like when you fighting fighters and everything, the scoring system is different from like amateur boxing. They like to see a lot of punches and flurries, stuff like that. For boxing, in the pros, it normally slows down and you sit down on your punches a lot more and everything. So I mean, it's a nice, good change up. But so we making a good transition so far, and on Saturday we're gonna continue on ride at the 3-0.
Yeah. So where are you training and everything now?
So my main gym that I train at is Tyson City Boxing out in Texas Corner, Virginia. I have Brandon Quarles as my head trainer, and my two assistants are Martin Gibson is my strength and conditioning coach, and then Michael Diaz is my second assist. But we spent a lot of this camp at Hillcrest Boxing Gym with Ernesto Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So we can great sparring that we got over there, and he's a world champion coach, and so he gave me a lot of pointers. He helped me out on a lot of things that I should take into this fight right here. So great camp that we had right here, and we're just ready to go on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. So as a fighter, other than just knowing you have to fight, man, what's your long-term plan for boxing, and also for life, with boxing included in it?
Okay, great question. We're looking to ride this as far as to go and take this all the way to the top. I always say, because boxing is a dangerous sport, so I'm not just doing it for the fun of it or just for a hobby, and we're just looking to take this as far as we can go. To answer the second part of your question, as for life in general, we just look at it, stay humble, stay grounded, and just thank God for the blessings that I got, because I'm well off with or without boxing. So, and I know I'm just grateful for the opportunities that I have in order to perform, be a professional athlete, perform at this pro level, and just go far with it. I met some great people networking through this boxing thing, and we just looking to stay strong and take this as far as we can go.
Yeah. So this answer this question. So in your career, so now you're going into your third fight. What type of opponents are you facing are you basing it on your capabilities to beat the fight, or the capabilities of that opponent being able to move you to where you need to go?
It's a little bit of both, actually. Of course, you don't want to take no hard fight right now because I'm still early on in my career. We're still developing everything, making the transition we already made the transition, but you're still getting more acclimated to the pro game, So of course you don't want to go in and fight no top guy in your weight class right now, and then that would just destroy the rest of your career. So of course you want to go into the fight thinking, okay, this is a good matchup right here. I'll be able to beat this guy, or I think I'll be able to beat this guy. First of all, and then second of all, you'll say this is a great matchup because this is a different style for me. So this is a different style. I'll be able to showcase these talents. So once I get to the harder, the 6, the 8, the 10, 12 round fights, I'll be able to. I've already seen this style before, so I'll be well off and I'll be well prepared for that. So it's a little bit of both. So you want to take styles and take fights to help you develop, but of course you always want it to be a winnable fight. You have to weigh risk to reward. It's no point on taking a high risk fight when you're not getting a reward for it. It's not a big money fight or a title fight or something like that. So what's the point of taking risk to reward? So what's the point of taking a high risk fight with a low reward? So that's very key in making a decision on the fight.
Yeah, and to ask another question that can catapult from that one right there, your answer is how long do you plan on fighting locally to establish yourself as a boxer where you can move out of the area and create a new platform for yourself?
You know, I don't think that will weigh on me totally as long as I continue to rack up the wins. And then, of course, like social media and everything now, visibility is a lot greater than it was previously. So, and then, you know, if someone sees me and signs me, something like that, then bam, it could happen after this fight. It could happen after the next fight. You know, who knows? So, I mean, I don't really have an answer for that question now because let's say that I have somebody reach out to me and if they want to sign me after this fight, then it'll be after this fight. But I wouldn't know that, you know. So I can't put a timetable and say that we got about 5 more fights or we got about 2 more fights. I'm not too sure about that right now.
Yeah, I got a different platform with Pro Am Fight Talk. It's called the Why. So I'm gonna ask you a why question. Why do you consider boxing, if any other sport, why boxing?
So great question. So everybody that knows me knows football is my favorite sport, right? So every Sunday I'm watching football, Monday night football, Thursday night football, catch me on college football Saturday. Football, that's my favorite sport all the way around. But they say, but you're a pro athlete, you're a pro boxer. I'm like, yeah, I am. So, but I've been playing football since I was about 10 or 11. I think I was in organized sport. And so that's when I first started playing organized football. And I liked it. I loved it, you know. And I stuck with it. I played all the way up through high school and everything. But it was just something about I'm the youngest of my siblings, and so growing up, I was always like fighting a lot and everything. In school or sometimes when I get home, I fight my siblings. But then sometimes in school, we used to like during our lunch period, we used to go in the bathroom and kind of like fight. And so I went to Oxon Hill Middle School and Oxon Hill High School. And so we had like a bigger Filipino population in my school. So this was around the time when they were talking about Floyd and Pacquiao supposed to be fighting. So, you know, of course, we going back and forth having our fun and stuff, right? It's like, no, Floyd will win, no, Pacquiao will win. So we used to go in the bathroom and settle out during our lunch period. So I was like, yeah, I like this boxing. So my boy from Oxon Hill High School, his name is Mike. He kept telling me, come to his gym. But I just never had time because I was always on other sports. In high school, I did football. I went to track and then I did baseball. So I was a 3-sport athlete. I never had time to go to a gym. And then once the summertime came around, you know, you're training again for football. So I said, once I graduated high school, I graduated at 17. I started boxing at 18. And I just went to the gym, Oxon Boxing Club. And so I started training there and I fell in love with the sport. And then, you know, I got good with it, you know. I think it was either 2016 or 2017, we was ranked 16th in the whole U.S. in our weight class. And so we said, okay, that's cool, let's ride. So that's my why right there. But out of all the sports that I did, football, I'm kind of small, as you can see. So those people are big in the NFL and in the college level. So I wasn't able to take my talent to the college level to play college football. So we started boxing and we took boxing this far. And that's where we at right now. So that's my why.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's a good story. That's a good story. So what is it that you're looking for in boxing? You know, a lot of people jump in it because they say they like it, they get off the street, blah blah. But what's your ultimate goal as a fighter?
Great question. It's of course, I mean, everybody say that they had a trouble past and making it, trying to get out the hood and everything. I mean, of course, everybody has their own story, you know. And I got my own story, you know. It wasn't too of a trouble past, but the reason I'm doing this is because I always was athletic and always was doing sports, and I always wanted to continue. And boxing gave me the opportunity to do that. And it just so happened that I got some skills with it and I could do it. You know, this is a dangerous sport here. People die in the ring, you know.
You broke up when you were explaining the part why you got into it. It broke up right before.
Sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Mm-hmm. You just went off.
Okay, cool.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, sorry. I had to turn my Wi-Fi off. I'm driving. Sometimes it tries to connect the Wi-Fi somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so where did I leave off? I'm sorry.
You were saying about your why, the reason why you know, your story is not the same as everybody else's story.
of course, my story is not the same as every other. A lot of people try to say that they got a troubled childhood or a troubled past, and their boxing is their way out to get out and everything. I took a different route, you know. While I started out my boxing, I went to school. I went to college. I graduated from Oregon State University. So and I have a bachelor's degree. So my whole time where I was going to school, I was still boxing. So I didn't put all my eggs in one basket, you know. I try to have a different option, you know, just in case something don't work out, you know. So I took a different path. So my why for doing this is, I mean, just the love for the sport, you know, the love that I have for the fight game and everything, you know. And then just continue to fighting for it, as my father always say, well, you got my name, you got my last name, so make the best out of this name. So if I'm able to make the best out of this Hutcherson last name, and I put my best foot forward, then I have nothing to be ashamed of, you know. As long as I can go out there and keep performing and just make sure that I give it my all, you know. We got a saying that we got in my training camp: no stones left unturned. I'm not going into the fight thinking, man, I should have ran one more mile, or man, I should have did a few more push-ups, a few more sit-ups and everything. No stones left unturned. This fight is on Saturday right now, and so I got one more workout, and then tomorrow's the weigh-in and everything. There's been no stones left unturned this training camp. I mean, of course, you got your nicks and your bruises, and trust me, training camp, I feel like it's harder than the fight. But we train hard so the fight can be easy. I'm telling you, like, I dealt with injuries this camp, like whether it was my wrist, whether it was my elbow, whether it was my shoulder. But I don't make excuses. I make solutions, you know? So while I was dealing with those injuries, we just continue to push through. So that's my why right there. Continue to go. If you look on my Instagram and my bio, it says, go get it. Simply, that's it. Go get it. That's it. So whatever it is, whatever you want to do in life, go get it. Just go be the best at whatever it is that you're doing. So that's me, and that's my why, and that's what I'm continuing to do.
That's good. That's good. That's
Yes,
good. So now let's get to the realistic part of boxing. Everybody can't be a world champion.
That's true.
Everybody can't be a prospect. Everybody can't be a top contender. So
that's true.
How much time you give yourself to get into that category? And if you don't get into that category, will you hang the gloves up?
Right now I'm 25. Let's say if significant movement haven't happened in about, let's say that a 12-month calendar year, I might be blessed this year to fight 4 times this year, right? So we're in the year of 4-0. So let's say that I fight 4 or 5, maybe 6 times a year. So possibly. So I'm 25 right now. Let's say I get to about 30, right? So I give myself about 5 years. If there hasn't been significant movement to where I'm signed to like a major promotional company, or I'm fighting on TV or something like that, like a ESPN or Showtime, something like that for PBC boxing, something like that, right? Let's say it hasn't been significant movement, then I'll seriously consider hanging it up and retiring it. And that all depends on the health of my body as well too, because as you know, boxing is a very, very brutal sport, and so we're putting our body through a lot of trauma. So I don't want to keep continuing to take punishment to my body when I have other options out here. You know, it's not like I'm fighting because I need money. You know, you see a lot of people doing that. Know that I'm grateful and I'm blessed not to be in a position for that. So let's say that no significant movement hasn't been made in about 30 years, when I'm about 30 years old, so about 5, 6 years, maybe when I'm 31, no significant movement haven't been made, then I'll seriously consider, okay, maybe it's time to hang it up and just go off for my other business ventures and stuff like that, and go on about, you know, my life.
So you have anything, like you said, go off in other business ventures? What type of other things that you would consider doing?
So right now I already have my current LLC, 2Sharp Enterprises LLC. Okay. So with my enterprises right now, I'm looking. I don't want to speak too soon, but if God blesses me, I'll be venturing off into real estate. So real estate would be number one for me. So I'll buy that. I don't want to go too much into that. Yeah. But I've also been looking at, but that's number one for me right now. Okay. Is very, very close for me pursuing. It's very, very close for me to acquire my first property. Let's just say that. Okay. So I'm blessed to be in that position right there. And so we're gonna start bringing in different revenue from that right there. So real estate is number one. But then off of that, I'll venture off and I might do um, gyms, like working out people, or
Okay. So
um,
personal training stuff.
personal training and stuff, maybe, because I've been in sports my whole life. So and then plus I know great people that's doing that right now, and I can go into the tutelage and learn from them. So maybe that might be a route. But as of right now, real estate is number one for me, and I'm very, very close to doing that right now underneath
Okay.
2Sharp Enterprises. That's what I have.
Okay, good, good, good. So you prepared for the Saturday night, 23rd?
I'm prepared for Saturday night. I'll be going to the gym pretty soon. We just cutting the rest of this weight right now. You know, training camp is over. The hard part is over. All the hard sparring and everything, hard training, that stuff is over with. So right now we're just cutting weight. We're staying sharp, making sure we're on our P's and Q's and everything, and we're just implementing the game plan. You know, going into fight night. So we know the opponent that we have. He's a little bit taller. My first opponent, my first fight, the guy was about this guy's height that I'm fighting, so they was taller. So
Okay.
yeah, so we'll be prepared for it. We have our game plan that we got going into the fight, and then, you know, it's just gonna be time for us to execute. You know, I always say, you know, I just want to work in the Lord's will. So as long as I'm go out there and then I do what I'm supposed to do, the rest will already be taken care of. I'm just a firm believer that this fight is already won before I step in the ring. You know, I prepare myself doing training camp and everything. Trust me, I push myself to the limit this training camp. It's a hometown fight, so I'm really excited about that. My first time fighting back here at home in front of my hometown fans. So that'll be pretty cool to do, you know, get the hometown fans to come out and support. And you know, then it just be time. It's just gonna be time to go out there and work. You know, this is a good opponent. I think he has a 3-1 record, so he got more pro fights than me. He got 4 pro fights. He got more victories than me. He has 3 victories right now. I mean, but he already takes defeat. And then on Saturday, you know, we both gonna have the same amount of victories, and he's gonna take defeat again. So, you know, we're just gonna go out there. We're gonna execute the game plan, and you know, we're gonna come out to victory on Saturday.
Yeah. So how did you link up with Tony Jeter and Jeter Promotions and Christian?
So my friend Blaze Filler Hernandez, I believe he signed with Tony Jeter, and so they was already real cool and everything. So I saw that Tony was throwing a show way back in April, at the beginning of this year, April 24th, up in the 2300 Arena in Philly. And so I reached out to Blaze. I was like, yeah, you know, see what you can do. You know what I'm saying? Me and Blaze were talking to it. He said, cool, no problem. I reached out. Blaze reached out, and then he hooked me and Tony up, and me and Tony started talking. So that was my first fight right there. You know, we had a good relationship after the first fight. He brought me back for the second fight in Philly in this past August. And now we're back at this fight again here on Saturday at Maryland Live Casino. So we had we got off to a great relationship, and we keeping it going, keeping it pushing forward. So that's how I got hooked up with Tony.
Yeah. And so now, so how long you've been working with Brandon Qualls?
Yes. So Brandon, you know, is a former fighter.
Yeah.
So me and Brandon been training since about 2015, 2016 when he first came over to Hillcrest Boxing. He first started coming over to just spar with Jared Hurd. Swift Jared Hurd. He just first started coming over to spar, and then he eventually started coming over to train there, and then that's when he was getting trained underneath Ernesto. So that's how me and Brandon first hooked up, and we started knowing each other. So, but he was still a fighter at this time. He wasn't coaching. And so me, I was still in amateur boxing, and Nesto was my coach at the time. So we were just training, you know, that's it. But then me and Brandon stayed cool and everything. And Brandon actually helped me out for my first pro fight, but he just wasn't in my corner. But for my second pro fight, that's when I made him my head trainer. And so he was in my corner for my second pro fight. And you know, we keeping it pushing, and he's with my corner. He's in my corner again for this fight right here. So it started off when Brandon came over. It was about 2015, 2016 when he came over and started sparring and training with Jared Hurd. Yeah. And then that's when our relationship started. And that's when I started to know Brandon, and we just got real, real cool. And then Brandon knows the game of boxing very, very well. He's a great teacher, an excellent teacher. He studies great. He breaks opponents down. Brandon is a great trainer, and he breaks it down in information that's easy for me to understand. So with that, I'm able to take that and execute it in my training, and then from my training, I take that and execute it in a ring or fight night. So
Yeah.
Brandon's a great trainer. They helped me out a lot.
So how was your conditioning going into that first fight? You know, transitioning from an amateur fighter to a professional fighter, that extra round and that extra minute.
So it's a pro fight, so you want to make sure, man, I got to do everything right. So I was making sure I was eating right. I was making sure I was training right. Because sometimes in my amateur boxing, I was a knucklehead with my training. Like sometimes I come in the gym, I train for 2 weeks, and boom, I'm fighting. And then I'm gone and I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And then boom, I'm back and then I'm fighting. Or sometimes, okay, I know Golden Girl coming up. Okay, let me go ahead and train for that. Or Nationals coming, let me go ahead and train for that. So I wasn't always consistent with my training in amateur boxing. So this is my first pro fight, and I'm like, man, nah, there's no turning back from now. Like when amateurs, okay, it's amateurs, you can get some experience, you can learn some things, but you don't want to lose. But for pros, you definitely don't want to lose. And it's my first pro fight, so I gotta make sure, man, everything is done correct. So, man, I was out there training, I was out there running, my strength and conditioning was on point, everything was on point, and I was making sure that there's no way I can go ahead and just, you know, I'm not losing. I always said if I lose a fight, I'll lose. God forbid I lose a fight, but if I lose a fight, it'll be because the person was better than me. I won't lose a fight because I'm out of shape. So I made sure I was in tremendous shape for my first fight. And I mean, we did 4 rounds, but to be honest with you, I could have kept going and I could have kept fighting. And same thing for my last fight. I feel like I was in better shape my last fight. When I fought up there in Philly again, like I was in great, tremendous shape. And like I could have kept going. Like my win was just there, but it's just something about consistency brings confidence. You know, so the more consistent I am with my training, the more consistent I am with that, the more confident I'll be in the ring. You know, so consistency brings confidence. So I'm consistent with my training. I train about 6 days a week, and then that allows me to be confident when I go into the ring, and so I won't be too tired. You know.
Yeah. I see your fight name. You got a lot of history. It's a lot of history behind that fight name you got, man.
I heard that so many times. So it's funny with that 2Sharp. So my boy, his name is DeAndre Headspeth. He's like, man, we gotta get you a nickname. We gotta get you a nickname. So we just started going through names, and he just kept shooting names at me, J Smooth, J Money, and all that stuff, right? And then somehow, somewhere, we landed on 2Sharp. I'm like, oh, that's Smooth. I was like, okay. So, but at the time, to be honest, I'm 100% honest with you, I didn't know about Mark Johnson at the time. You know what I mean? Remember I told you, I'm a football player. So you
Yeah,
ask me
yeah,
some history
yeah,
about
yeah.
football, I'm able to spit some football stuff at you, you know?
Yeah, you got in
But
boxing
so
a little later.
I got in boxing a little bit later. So I didn't know about Mark 2Sharp Johnson. So I'm 100% honest with you. So well, I said, okay, cool. We're going to go with 2Sharp. So he told me about that, and I said, cool. So that was my nickname. And then so later on, that's when I started hearing about, well, you got somebody nickname. And then I said, okay, let me Google this person. I said, wow. And then he's from here? I said, you got to be kidding me. And he's a Hall of Famer, too. I said, wow. So to be I'm telling you, 100% honest with you, I did not know about Mark 2Sharp Johnson before I took on that nickname. I mean, but now I do. And I know he's a Hall of Famer. He's a small guy like, you know, he fought at a smaller weight class. So he's a smaller guy like me. And he's from the area. I'm like, man, so if I can just live up to half of what he did, that would be great right there. I mean, of course, you always want to shoot for the stars and surpass someone else. But, you know, on the lower end, if I'm able to just do like half of what he did, that would be great. And that would be awesome right there. But Mark 2Sharp Johnson is an excellent fighter, Hall of Famer. I saw a couple of his fights and everything, you know. But man, excellent fighter right there. If I could just do half of that, that would be great and that would be wonderful right there, you know. But he's a man, like that was pretty funny right there. I get asked this question probably every time I do an interview, and I just laugh at it because I honestly didn't know. I honestly did not know. Like you said, I got into boxing late, so you asked me some history facts about football, I got you. I know my football. I'm gonna spit it off to you. But this boxing, I just didn't know. You know, I got into it late. Like I wasn't even watching a lot of it. Like it wasn't like a Floyd fight or a Pacquiao fight. I probably wasn't watching it. You know. So, but that's just the thing. But man, like Mark 2Sharp Johnson, I had like a couple of conversations with him. It was not a extensive conversation, just like surface level conversations, a high and bad situation, and we might talk a little bit. But that was about it. But man, he's from what I have, when I talked with him, he's a cool dude. Very, very respectful, cordial. We had a good conversation. But yeah, it was just cool, man. And you know, I'm living up to Mark 2Sharp Johnson, you know.
Maybe
And
the
hopefully,
way,
you know,
maybe the way you wrote it down, you got the 2 in front of it. That means you're the second 2Sharp. So that might work out.
That might work out. That's gonna be the difference between us.
That might work
I know
out.
he did his 2 with TOO. So exactly, and I did my 2 with the number 2. So that would be the difference between us right there.
Yep. There you go, man. I appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you in action, man. I heard you that you turned pro and everything, so I'm excited to see you. And I'll be talking to you. I'll be at the weigh-in tomorrow. I'll talk to you at the weigh-in or at the fights.
Cool. I'm gonna see you tomorrow then at the weigh-in, Juan. It was great talking to you. It's always love and always a pleasure on my end.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Juan.
All right.